clap.
Should I go backwards hat on it or forwards hat on it? It's tough with long hair, guys. Did we start the podcast?
What about no hat?
I don't know if the world's ready for that.
Oh,
Dude, I could do a man bun now.
Can you?
It's like a little kid.
I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
It's like a child bun.
I have asked you for all the years that I've known you, which is what, 13, 14 years now, to keep your hair long. And now that I leave the show and don't see you all the time, you have it long.
It makes it more special now. But look at this thing, bro. Look at this man bun I can do up here. I can't show you.
Are people giving you a lot of shit about it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I don't care what they think.
You know what it is? It's called jealousy.
You know what people are giving me shit about lately?
What?
My eyebrows. I have these women write me on my social media because I've been into this bushy eyebrow look and they're like, you're very pretty, or you're usually pretty, Jenna, but I hate your eyebrows. And I was like, well, then don't do it. I like them. I like them all bushy and using hair gel on. I'm like, this is the look I'm trying to go for. I've been working very hard for this eyebrow look.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, luckily it's a free country and I can say whatever I want. And I'm like, okay, on my Instagram, block.
I love the block button. And first of all, Bush is back.
The bush is back.
Top. Oh, no, I heard the downstairs is
I
back
think
too.
everywhere, no? No, I'm kidding. I've been getting laser hair removal.
I think it depends on, there's groups out there that like the all natural look.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. That's how we started sometimes.
I gotta say, yeah, this is the Fitish podcast. I'm back with my number one co-host, not my sub-Mexican, my first Mexican, my real Mexican, my starter Mexican.
Your first Mexican.
My starter. He's a starter. But I feel uncomfortably close to him right now for something that we are about to get into.
All right, so here's what we're gonna talk about. Here's why I feel comfortable talking about this on the podcast.
I'm very excited about this right now.
Why?
Because I love transparency.
Now, here's the thing. I could get in trouble for this. I might. I don't know. But this is a point of a podcast, right? The podcast is like a little nest for us.
Yeah.
And this is
a nest of 30-something thousand people.
You come to us because you probably were filtered through the radio show that Jenna was on and that I'm still currently on. Mm-hmm. And then you found us and now you're a part of our little Fitish club. You know, you're part of our club and you came to us because you like us. Not because you're force-fed our show on the radio airwaves, but because
you're here by choice.
You're here by choice. And that choice is probably because you like Jenna or you like me, and hopefully you like us both. Yeah. That's what we like.
Mm-hmm. And why do they like us?
I don't know.
No, you're supposed to say like, because we're real.
Oh, yeah, because we're real. and here's the thing. I am the male version of Jenna, and Jenna's a female version of me. You know, that's what it is. And
whatever he said.
I think that's what it is. You know, because I think we're like long lost brother and sister in some way.
I mean, I think I'm smarter.
Probably. It's fine. You know, Jenna.
And you're like better at football.
I'm better at football. I'm street savvy. I would say I'm very street savvy because I have to be streets.
That's fine. We'll go with it.
And the books thing, I just have to work really hard at that stuff. Jenna, that came natural to her. I had to freaking get tutors and stuff, but that's besides the point. Anyways, so how do I put this lightly?
I think you just say it.
I had COVID. I feel like this is what happens at the meetings. Like, yeah, I'm JC and I had COVID.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Jenna.
Thank you for sharing.
This is my first time around humans, aside from my family, since that. Actually, no, it's not, because I got cleared last week on
I wouldn't
Wednesday.
let him come in here, so that's why he wasn't in here. But there was a bit of an issue with talking about it, and I'm really glad you're being honest about it.
Well, here's the thing. So we did mention on our show that the reason we had gone back to at work, at home, was because there was a positive test in the office. And, you know, when these things happen, I work in an office where I talk to everyone. I mean, I have producers I have to talk to. I have
you
co-hosts.
weren't the positive test. Yeah, you weren't the first positive test.
I was not,
no.
but you know, and you don't, you know, it's not that anybody was doing anything wrong. It's like people are living life and somehow some people catch it. And that's what happened in our office.
Yeah. You guys were being really careful. I will say that because I had been up to the office occasionally. So, you know, I wasn't surprised because, I mean, look, let's be honest. A lot of us probably know someone that has it, had it, or is about to have it.
And here's the thing. And it's like, and I get asked, or I was asked by my family members, like, was I upset that I was told to go back to work in an office? And here's the thing. I wasn't told I had to go back to an office. I was actually we were given choices.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, I could have stayed home. I could have kept working from home, but it's a lot easier to do a radio show in person and to be able to make eye contact with people. So it was my choice to go back to the office. I will take credit for that right there. It was me. I wanted to go back. And unfortunately, I did come in contact with the person that tested positive in our office. And after they experienced their symptoms and our office went into let's get all tested, I was one of the people that went and got tested right away. It came back negative.
Yeah.
So I felt good. I'm like, okay, cool. We're back at home, but at least I didn't catch it.
And he told me this, and I appreciated that because no one else had told me, and he told me, and we had been around each other, and so we were worried because you did say that you were feeling a few symptoms, but your test was negative, and I was like, well, maybe it's the flu, and we're all paranoid, but we made a decision to be really safe because I've been really safe, and I was like, we are not coming up here, and I'm not coming to see you, and I'll have Fran fill in, and then we'll see how it comes back.
Exactly. And so what I wanted to keep doing, and I don't know if a lot of people do this, but I have a neighbor that's a doctor, and he had those quick tests, those rapid tests, and he had this one that was a blood test. And so I got tested by him. It was negative. I got tested every day after we were told at the office that, somebody had come back positive, mostly because I wanted to go through, because they said it's like an incubation period of like 3 to 5 days before you start showing symptoms. But since I had already started showing the symptoms of what appeared to be a head cold and what a doctor actually told me was a head cold, I felt like I'm just going to keep testing until that is up. And then if I'm clear and if I'm negative the whole time, then I'll feel comfortable and I'll feel good. I have kids. I have a wife. I want to make sure that they stay safe before I go in quarantine in a room in my house. And it was that following week. It was our first week back from working at home. We're a couple days in, and I remember I finished with the show and I went downstairs and Kinsey had made me some breakfast.
You were working from home.
Yeah, I was working from, we were already at home. Everybody was quarantined. Everybody was testing. And so far, I think we were doing pretty well with only that one person had tested positive at that point, maybe another person. I don't remember exactly. But, and I had been testing negative, but I decided to take one of those lab tests when I went in for my rapid test on a Sunday. I said, I'll take the lab test. So that one got sent off. The rapid test came back from that day. I got double freaking penetrated in my nostrils. That's no joke. That definitely, they tickle your brain hole. Like it's right up there.
It's so funny. Mine that I got originally when this first started, because I had come into contact with someone that was positive, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like uncomfortable like a strep test is.
Yeah.
Like, it made me kind of uncomfortable, but Danny, who works for me, had a totally different experience. She was like, oh, I hated it. But then I feel like people then get scared and they don't want to go get tested,
I mean, it only lasts a couple of seconds. The rapid one was not that bad. The lab one was deep in there. I felt like my brain got poked. I think it got pregnant. I don't know what happened. But so that one, the day I got done with the show, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday of my week back at home, I go downstairs and I take a bite of my breakfast.
Oh.
And I tell Kinsey, I'm like, man, this is bland.
Oh, the dream symptom.
You think, right? And we talked about this, Jenna.
I know, I've said that to people that lose their sense of taste, but they're like, well, I'm still hungry, so you still want to eat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tell her, I'm like, and if you know my wife, she is an over seasoner.
Yeah, like heavy on the salt.
Like a lot. And so I'm like, what happened to my wife? Like normally this is super salty or there's some sort of spice in it and I didn't taste it.
And you're like, this is it.
Yeah. In my head, I'm like, no, because I got a negative test. I got at that point I had 3 negative tests and I'm like, no, it's gotta be, you fucked up breakfast. You forgot to put some seasoning in that thing. And she looked at me and she starts backing away. And
she's like,
yeah, she like did the whole Heisman on me. But then she looked at me and she goes, no, because you said you like to be a little dramatic sometimes. She's like, you're joking with me. And I was like, you know what? Go grab onion.
Yeah, you hate onion.
Hate onion.
Yeah.
And I said, and go grab some garlic. Let's test this out. Let's see what's up.
And you really couldn't taste it either.
So we didn't have onion, unfortunately, but she did have a clove of garlic. And she grabbed that garlic and she handed it to me. And I put it in my mouth and I started chewing and I swallowed and I could not taste.
That's amazing. That's wild.
Anything.
So how are you now? Can you taste food again?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. How long did that last for you?
So that lasted no taste, no smell for about 4 days.
Wow. And when did you get that positive test?
So I finished biting on the garlic, right? And I looked at her, and it was like my world sank. I'm like, oh no, what the hell? I got negative tests. What's going on? My phone rings. It's a random number, and I knew I got to answer right now. I just have the lab results coming up. I answered on speakerphone, and it's them. It's the clinic. And they said, is this Jose? And I said, yep. And they said, can you verify this is you? Blah, blah, blah. We verified. And then she dropped it on me, and she goes, just want to let you know that your lab results came back, and you were positive for COVID. And that was it. That was it. That was the moment where I was like, oh shit, this is real. And here's the thing about this thing. And I wanted to talk about it because whether you've had it or you haven't had it, or you're scared of it or you're not scared of it, I think it's interesting to hear from people that have gone through this.
Yeah.
And so I automatically in my head thought, okay, I'm going to be okay. But I was scared because I don't know. I know the mortality rate is super, it's low.
Yeah, but it scares you because we actually had a former coworker of ours that
had a bad
I've kind of lost touch with over the years, but was like hospitalized and healthy guy. And this was earlier on. And he was like touch and go for a while. So it makes you kind of freaked out because it just strikes people differently. Yeah.
And so that day when I got my lab results back and I lost taste, I started feeling a lot of fatigue. And then I started feeling
you couldn't breathe.
The breathing started getting tougher that day.
I remember you told me that you like walked upstairs and you were like out of breath.
I was out of breath. And I work out and I'm in reasonable shape. And so
you're the fit and Fitish.
I'm trying, Jenna. And so I slept so much the very next day and I just felt tired. And I started noticing that my breathing was really heavy. So I got one of those oxygen readers. And that's when I realized my biggest symptom was for the lack of smell and taste was I lost my oxygen count was going down a little bit. And that's what scared me. That's when I was like, okay, the doctor was like, you got to keep track of your oxygen levels. Here's the vitamins you need to be taking. So if you don't know, or if you haven't heard on this, what got me out of this is vitamin C. I was popping pills, vitamin C.
Okay.
Like every meal, just pop.
Good to know.
Zinc. I was getting some zinc all day. I was on that a lot. Vitamin D. That's what the doctor prescribed to me. And on top of that, since my oxygen was pretty labored at sometimes, I got an inhaler prescribed to me, and I got the steroids. Not the lifting steroids. I got the steroids to open up my lungs and to help out with the potential scarring and all that.
But that was it. I mean, there was no other prescription medication other than the steroids.
Other than that, it was that. And so...
just write it out.
I wrote it out. And man, when I tell you, I lost my taste, like a switch went off. And I remember when I got my taste back, it was on a Saturday. And I just remember that it was evening. We were trying to get the kids ready for bed. And I remember I put some hand sanitizer on my hands and I smelled it. And I put it up and I'm like, oh my God. I ran to my liquor cabinet, opened up the liquor bottles. I smelled them all. I could smell vodka.
Did you have fever at any point?
I never had fever.
Oh, that's wild.
Never
that's
had
amazing.
a fever. I was doing the show sick. And this was what was tough for me to do because we wanted to protect we didn't want people to know, I guess. I don't know exactly what.
This is what I want to talk about, though. Like, I love that you're sharing it because I think it's so important. And we've always been, you and I, because we are similar, like you said, we've always shared a lot on the show, And so I was telling JC, like, I didn't understand why, and it's not my decision to make anymore, but why you wouldn't want to share when, multiple people in the office had an experience with it. I think it's so informative to use the platform to talk to people about how to not be scared, how to protect themselves, what you took, how to not be super paranoid and to know what you did, that you didn't have to rush to the emergency room. And all of those things I think are really valuable pieces of information.
It's one of those where I could see my side, obviously, because I'm me, and I can see, the higher up side. And they have the reasons to why. I don't know if it's because I don't want to create panic or if it's because maybe does it make us look bad? I don't know. It's just one of those things where
it's like lying.
It's out there. It's life. It's not lying. It's admitting, right?
It's like lawyer speak.
But I was working on this and it was incredibly tough the entire week because I would have these coughing fits where I would end up puking. So puking was one of my other side effects. I did have intestinal issues. So puking was one of it. And the coughing was so bad that at times I would have to throw up in between breaks. But as fast as those came on, they went away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my wife caught it as well. And hers was way worse. She was bedridden for a good 4 or 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
Where she was in bed, and obviously our kids were taken out of school. So it was work, take medicine, teach the kids. Kinsey was out sleeping. To this day, she just got cleared, but she still has fatigue. So there's things that we don't know about this disease.
And you got cleared last week.
Yeah, I got cleared last week on Wednesday to resume, and they basically you're clear. What I also learned about testing after you have COVID is that if you go get tested, a lot of the times you'll still test positive, even though you don't have any symptoms.
Yeah,
you can't get anybody sick. And what I was told is because you have the dead cells in your nasal passages, and so those dead cells will still come back as COVID positive, even though they're not alive.
I did not know this. I'm sitting here. No,
but they're dead cells, right? So a lot of people will still, that's why they say, just follow your doctor's guidance and make sure you're symptom free. And look, man, if you're a non-believer, I know there's still people out there that are thinking, hey, I don't know about this. Is it a hoax? Is it as bad as it seems? For some people it is. For some people I joined a COVID support group.
Wow.
I did. I really did. There was a moment where it got scary with Kinsey where I had to make sure she was okay and take her in. And I remember driving back in the car because they don't let you go in with them. They don't let you.
That's what's so hard, right? That a lot of times people are like rushing a family member to the hospital and they never see him again.
Yeah, it was. I basically found Kinsey, and my son brought me a note saying, "Mommy's not okay. She's crying. She needs help." And I went down and she was basically collapsed in the bathroom, and so I had to take her in. And you can't do anything once this happens. But wait. And on the way home, I remember tearing up. I cried because I was like, I know that the odds are for us, but it's like, what if we are one of those? Mm-hmm. What if we're one of those people? What if that's the last time I get to see her for a while and she's going to be in the hospital for a while? It wasn't that. I got her back that same day. She was just really dehydrated. So I joined this support group on Facebook. And I talked, and just mostly because I wanted to follow people along, people that were ahead of me and see how they got better. And so I found a couple people that were like same symptoms as me, but ahead of me. And surely just from talking to them every day, they'd be like, hey, today I got my taste and smell back. And I was 2 days behind her. So 2 days later, I got mine back. And I'm like,
amazing.
Oh, I got this back. And she goes, hey, I'm clear.
Gave you some hope.
Yeah, it gave me hope. It was people to talk to because
Is that your first Facebook support group?
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch your transformation into a suburban housewife.
I mean, I joined it. Now, I left it after I got better and I got cleared.
Oh, what about helping the people behind you?
You're
supposed to be paying it forward.
I know, and I did. There was a couple people behind me that I would talk to. And
but I don't need y'all anymore. I'm out of this support group.
And so, yeah, we kept in touch with like people that would have questions and stuff. But after I got cleared, it was still scary to read what some other people were going through. And I still felt guilty because there was people in that group that were in the hospital and there was people in that group that, were passing away. And so it just got too sad for me and too real quick. And so I figured, okay, I did my time here. I got the support I needed. I gave support back. And now there's like a new wave of people that come in.
Are you glad that you had this experience?
That I got COVID?
Yeah.
No, I would much. This is what happened to me because the vaccine is right around the corner, right? So we're like weeks away from a vaccine. I got it literally like right when like the finish line's happening.
I think that's how the girls and I in the office feel. We're like, we have made it this far. We're trying so hard to not get it. I mean, we're doing almost everything we can to lock down and be really safe. So much so that I didn't even go spend Thanksgiving with my family like I was planning on. I just like stayed at home.
And look, there's been times where I went out, we did things and I thought to myself afterwards, like, man, that was not really the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
Like early on, right? Like,
yeah, we all went through our phases, and because they call it the COVID fatigue, the literal fatigue, where people are just tired of taking all the precautions, and they just like they start to feel like it's not worth it anymore. That they don't care if they get sick. But
then as it got worse, I went with the season. So you read and you're like, okay, when it gets colder, it's gonna fluff up again. It's going to
Yeah, I'm worried it's going to get pretty bad right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Right now is the time where we should be the most careful, and that's why they were telling us to stay home, don't have large gatherings for Thanksgiving, because that's what can spread it. And look, we were being really careful in the office, and everybody in the office seemed to be pretty careful. But all it takes is just that one time you walk through those little floating droplets, and that person catches it, and then you come in contact with them, and it just kind of. Luckily for us, since we were so careful, it didn't spread like wildfire in our.
I've had a dilemma because I have a girlfriend who, does not take it as seriously, and she's a close friend of mine. And so, we've kind of had to have this conversation. I'm sure a lot of friends and family members feel this way. Like they have this difference in beliefs, and they, they're very social, right? Like going to weddings and going out. And I went through a phase this summer where I was around her because she's my friend, but I wasn't doing these large group gatherings that they were. But the nature of even hanging out one-on-one with someone that is more social only increases your chances. And so she's having like a holiday gathering and of just some girlfriends, but a lot of them have just had babies and stuff like that. So they're like, they don't want to go to a bar or anything, but they're all comfortable going to someone's house, a group of 10 girls. And I've been on the fence about it because I'm like, I shouldn't say on the fence. I've been on I really don't want to. But then there's a lot of judgment there that I never partake in these activities, or I'm Jenna is like the odd one out that feels like she believes in COVID. And I've said to the girls that work for me, I was like, you know what, you just got to own it. Like, yeah, that's how I feel. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I have multiple relatives right now dealing with breast cancer and ones that I'm around. And I just don't feel like a one fun couple of hours of hanging out is worth
Especially
if I get it and then I want to see family members and on and on and on. But yeah, it makes me feel like a stick in the mud. And I think that's just kind of what you have to do. You have to say, you know what, like I'm going to be lame for a little bit, but
that's fine.
That is what it is.
And you know what I've noticed too is because I'm not going out and like if people ask me, oh, where you been or what's been going on or have you had it? I'll be honest. I'll be like, yeah, I had it.
People are treating this like it's like AIDS.
It's not
like
AIDS.
That they don't want to they don't want anyone to know and they don't want to advertise it. It's like, it's not.
I'm not going to go out with a shirt that said I had COVID, but at the same time,
I'm going to get you
but
one.
when I have talked to friends of mine, it was so astonishing how many people I talked to and they're like, oh yeah, I had it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had it too. And so it's one of those things where like a lot more people have had it than I thought had it. And when you talk about it, it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. And I know I have antibodies now, but I still want to show support and show what the right thing is. So if you see me out and about, I'm still wearing my mask. I'm still trying I'm still trying to, socially distance because
I'll be honest with you. I know multiple people that have gotten it again. People that had it in March because I think there's different strains of it. I actually know people that have gotten it for a second time. And the argument is either that it never left their body. Some people will say that, but for someone to have it in March and then have it again in September and still have it really bad again, it's interesting.
We don't know how long the antibodies last.
But I have mono twice, so
yeah, you did.
That sucked.
So yeah, so that's why I've been a little absent from the podcast. And listen, if you have any questions about it or you want to go off on me, that's totally fine. You can email us and everything. But
email JC.
Email me.
Email the podcast at Fitish.com. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And look, and the question that I got asked though, that was very interesting question because I've had both now. I've had the flu and I've had COVID. And I was asked, what was harder on you? And
the flu.
Honestly, if we're going to go with how strenuous and how strong something was for a certain amount of time, I'd say the flu was.
Yeah, the flu's an ass kicker. I don't want the flu either, though.
Because the flu had me bedridden. I remember I couldn't even work. I couldn't do the show. I was bedridden for an entire week.
Oh yeah, you're talking about last year or the year before, right? When you had the flu real bad.
The only difference with this is that I don't know how long if there's any after effects or how long the antibodies
your
last.
NFL football career, there's no hope anymore.
And I had a chance because the Broncos definitely needed a quarterback because all them boys were not wearing masks and they had some dude that played wide receiver in their practice squad play quarterback for them. But you know what saved me from this? Because I still tried to stay in shape. And I still tried to do some exercising. And I even asked my doctor, I'm like, am I cool to weight lift? And they said, yes, but how are you going to weight lift unless you have a gym at your home? And I said, well, let me tell you about my Tonal. Because that's what got me through this. I'm so jealous
you got this and that I didn't. That they gave only one person on the podcast this equipment. And JC uses it all the time. It's amazing. And you need to add it to your Christmas list.
And you know what excited me the most when I was working out again?
What?
My boy, Tony Horton, one of my favorite trainers of all time, has his workouts on Tonal now. And so I got to go back in the day. I used to work out with Tony Horton back in the, not in like friends, but I used to follow his the guidelines. So he's on Tonal now, and he's got a bunch of workouts for you to do. Now they have if you have a Theragun, you can do your Theragun with your Tonal. They'll guide you along with it. There's yoga.
This is brilliant for Tonal, incorporating other platforms, other trainers, other devices.
Yeah, and Tonal they have the resistance cable. So if you want to do workouts with weights and get stronger and build muscle, you can do that. If you want to burn fat, there's dance classes you could take. There's yoga you can do as well. There's every workout you could possibly imagine going on Tonal, and all the trainers are freaking awesome. They're all well versed in that world. And so if you've been looking for something to do and you want to stay healthy and stay away from the gyms and not catch the COVID and all that stuff, I would definitely invest in Tonal.
I love it. I agree.
And if you want to get in on this, by the way, it's not bulky. There's no weights or anything. It just sits up against my wall. And I have one bench.
Yeah, it has like up to 200 pounds resistance, right?
Easy cleanup. Yeah, Jenna. So if you want to try Tonal, the world's smartest home gym, get the strongest deal of the season right now. Just go to tonal.com for $250 off your Tonal purchase. That's TONAL.com. And this exclusive deal is only for a limited time, so get your Tonal today. Tonal, be your strongest.
I love that.
I even connected it to my watch so I could see my heart rate right there, because that's what I have to keep track of. So good.
I have a story that's not as good as yours.
What's going on?
Well, and I meant to bring it up on the podcast last week, and I had one of those text message issues that I feel really embarrassed about. That I order a lot from Instacart.
What's Instacart, like on Instagram?
Yeah, Instacart is a platform like an Uber Eats or something like that, but they have all the grocery stores and, CVS and everything listed. So you would choose the store that you want to choose from, and they do all your grocery shopping for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I literally haven't even wanted to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I've been that much at home. I'm between home and my office. And so I was getting all of my Thanksgiving groceries or whatever delivered. And so a girl was helping shop. And I've never done anything like this, by the way. And maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. And I hate that I'm even telling this story, because I just know that the culture we live in now, everyone's going to give me a lot of shit for it. But I
literally just told people I had COVID.
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to address like the other hot topic of the year. But so, they'll message you sometimes with updates like replacements for things and that sort of thing. Hey, they don't have Jiffy Creamy. Do you want crunchy? And so you kind of communicate with them. And so Instacart's been amazing. I mean, I'm not sponsored by them. I wish that I was. I'm just telling you this because I actually utilize it all the time. And so, yeah, someone goes and does all the grocery shopping for you. Some people like to go to the grocery store. I absolutely hate it. That's why I also endorse other things that talk about food being delivered to your house. But anyway, I digress. So we were messaging back and forth, and the girl was like, sorry, I'm running a little bit late. She sent a message like that.
Oh,
and
okay.
so I send a message to her back to say it's all good. And when she delivers the groceries and I look back at the message, it had autocorrected, or I had accidentally written it's all hood. And come to find out, the delivery girl was black.
Oh, did she take it the wrong way?
So of course I do asterisk good. Like I didn't mean to write it's all hood. No. I don't know why it wrote it's all hood, but the H is next to the G, and knowing my long fingernails, like I do that all the time. I mean, I'm constantly, and I hate spelling errors, but when you're texting, it happens. And so I was like, asterisk good. And I'm like, she didn't say anything back to it. And the groceries were delivered fine, but she didn't say anything back. And then I didn't want to dig a deeper hole, or maybe she didn't even think anything of it. But I'm like, why did that do that? Or are we just living in a time that's so sensitive that obviously that's just like a simple letter next to each other issue that's like, it's all hood instead of it's all good. And she didn't like have an issue or like, that I know of, but I'm like, oh my God.
For calling these things smartphones, they're pretty dumbass, because the one time you should probably correct it to it's all good. It doesn't correct it. When do we say it's all hood? When do we say it's all hood?
That's what. Then of course it's running through my head, going, "This poor girl probably thinks that I'm this white chick that's always saying it's all hood to everyone."
Right.
When like I literally never say anything about hood. I don't even say like in the hood. Are you in my hood? Do you live in my hood? Like I don't ever use that expression anyway. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm like, gosh, especially with the movements and everything we've been going through this year and the sensitivities. It's like I really hope that she didn't think that I'm just being some like white chick wanna be cool with the black chick situation, you know, because that wasn't what it was at all.
I had my phone correct because I was talking to someone. They wanted to work on a like Black Lives Matter thing, and I wanted to put BLM,
Yeah.
but it kept changing it to BLT.
Like a BLT sandwich?
Yeah, like a BLT sandwich. So I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely down for the cause with BLT. I'm like, damn it, and but it's too late. You can't correct it. You're like, you know, you just hope that they know. Or maybe sometimes you don't even catch it and you just let it go forever. And then 2 weeks later, you notice that my phone screwed me over. I hate phones so much. I hate the spell check the most because it always changes. Every word you don't want to change, it changes. And when you need the word to change, it doesn't change it.
Yeah, but didn't you used to get in your wife's phone and change things to spell check them to...
Yeah, this is my favorite part. This is a prank that I did on Kinsey.
It's amazing.
It's like what, so you can go into shortcuts on an iPhone, right? And I'm sure all the other phones have it too. And so I would change shortcuts to a word she would definitely use, like and. We say and basically every other text, right? You're and or maybe the.
Yeah.
So you change it to, I believe what I changed first to, it was and. And so I changed and. The shortcut was to and my boob exploded. And so every time she was trying to write anybody and she would write and she doesn't check, she would be like, yeah, I went to the grocery and my boob exploded, bought some stuff.
She was so upset and confused.
And so I started recording her and she's like, Jose, something's wrong with my phone. It keeps telling me that my boob exploded. My mom's she sent her mom a text and her mom was calling me. She's like, is Kinsey okay? And I'm like, what's going on? And she goes, she wrote me a text and said her boob exploded. Did you take her to the doctor? Oh, it's the best. So you go in the shortcuts, change one of those words into a long sentence, but make sure it starts with it. So it's the butt smells, right? So you got to make it.
Changes it to the butt smells.
Oh, it's the best. It's one of my favorite pranks I've done ever. I got to get her back, by the way. She got me singing yesterday. I was doing a sing-along. Kinsey got me singing along to Frozen and posted it on Instagram because she got mad that I posted her sleeping.
Yeah.
And she said she was mad at me for and by the way, I made sure that my wife looked hot. She looked hot sleeping.
Well, you thought so. What is it with y'all? Like every time Francisco goes and posts photos of me rogue, and I'm like, out of the 20 that we took, that is the worst one, and you used a terrible Instagram filter. I think this is just the story of a relationship. Like, can you even ask me if I like that photo?
No, because I figure if I think you look hot in it, then everybody else will think
it's not about you.
But it is, because if I deem you hot in the picture, then I think other people will deem it hot.
No. That's not how it works.
Now, I have broken protocol, and I have posted a picture where I only looked at myself. And I think I used to do this to Jenna and Kelly quite a bit, where we would take a group picture, and I would find the one where I look awesome. And then and
I'm literally in the corner looking like a troll with one eye open, which is my like typical bad picture, that I have like one eye opens faster than the other, and it looks like I have a lazy eye. I'm like... I mean, dude, you have like 250,000 followers. Like, did you even think about how I look right here?
No, I was looking at myself, and sometimes you got to check the filters, because Jenna and I have different skin tones, and so I would pick a...
That's what you would do. You'd put a filter on it, and I had a perfectly good spray tan. I would always tell JC, I was like, I get my skin ready for prime time. So like in any scenario, it doesn't need a tanner filter for the most part, because I am like glowing and ready to go, because I would do those spray tans for the TV show that we had for a few years there. And JC puts this filter on it, and I literally look like an Oompa Loompa. And I'm like, you did this to make yourself look better. Why don't you get yourself looking good without a filter?
It was one of those, I think I remember I posted one and I changed the filter, and one of the first comments that came in was,
Jenna looks like a flaming hot Cheeto.
Yeah, was Jenna so red or something like that? And that song that goes on TikTok, you know, the oh no,
oh no,
oh no. It, like that started going in my head, but it was before it even existed. And sure enough, Jenna is calling me. She's
it's like, dude, I literally look like you put me in the toaster oven. Like, what? It was just the filter that he used. It killed me.
I pick up the phone, and Jenna's first words were like, what the fuck?
Hey, speaking of photos and stuff, I just got a bunch of photos done here at the office that are amazing,
They're
and
really
I'm
good.
actually doing some photo stuff for my mom this year as well. Hopefully, she doesn't listen to this and I spoil the surprise.
Sorry,
But
Candy.
because we've talked about friend and family reunions just not being quite the same this year, we still want to feel close. We still want to celebrate the holidays and show people that we love them. And I want to tell you about something really cool and a way to share memories this year using a platform called Storyworth. So this is an online service that helps your loved ones share stories through thought-provoking questions. So, that you can just share these memories and kind of engage with the family that, I have a bunch of family across the country that I haven't seen since summer. I'm probably not going to see them for a long time. I actually have a grandmother who's 92nd 91st birthday. I'm sorry, I should remember this, is coming up here in a couple of weeks.
She'd
and
probably
so,
prefer you to say 91st if she is turning 92. Let's shave a year off, you know what I'm
she
saying?
never reveal her age. But look, she looks amazing. And so our family members had this idea, like, why don't we all record videos to share with Mimi? But I have proposed using Storyworth because this is how it works, okay? So it's going to email your family members different story prompts, right? Questions that you would never normally ask when you're just hanging out. Things like, what's a small decision you made that ended up having a big impact on your life? Or if you could see into the future, what would you want to find out? And so you're going to get these story responses from people that Storyworth has compiled. And it's going to be, including photos. And then you can get this like beautiful keepsake of a book that's shipped for free, which is actually amazing. So you're going to be able to get people's responses, and then they're going to compile it all, and then you can order the book, and that way your family can kind of share favorite memories and things like that, and then put it into a book. I mean, my mom made me a scrapbook some years ago, and I still pull it out every year looking at it. It was just the sweetest thing she could do, and it's kind of like this digital scrapbook situation that is they're just next leveling everything that we do.
And we're here on borrowed time, and so are our grandparents. So this is a great way to get those stories that maybe you've never heard. Ask those questions that you've wanted to ask them, and then you'll always have them.
Yeah, so why don't you give your loved ones the gift of spending time together wherever you may live with Storyworth. You can get started right away with no shipping required by going to storyworth.com/Fitish. You're going to get $10 off your first purchase. That's Storyworth, spelled STORYWORTH.com/Fitish for $10 off. Really cool way to, make and preserve some memories.
There you go. One thing has changed that I didn't touch on yet about getting sick.
What?
And it's in my relationship with Kinsey, with my wife.
Yeah, let's talk about that because friend's been sick in bed for days, and I've had to nurse for the first time.
You've nursed him? Is he like a baby sick?
Not from the teat. Like I haven't actually nursed him. But
is he like a baby sick guy? Because Kinsey tries to claim that I'm a baby when I get sick, but I feel like
all men are.
I feel like I was Iron Man this time around.
Really?
Because I was still getting up. I was working. I was taking care of the kids the whole time. Like I was Iron Man. I felt good about it. But she, when she got sick, or when I got sick, she took away the kissing, right? Rightfully so. Understood.
Yes.
Because she didn't know she was sick yet. And then she did get sick.
Too late for her.
But now we're going on like 3 weeks now, and she still is not comfortable with kissing.
Yeah, I get that.
And so it's been weird in other areas because
why?
Like the flame is still alive.
You can have sex without kissing.
But
I've done it plenty.
It's awkward.
Awkward?
Yes.
It's less intimate. It's wonderful.
No, I don't like it. I just feel like it's just weird. It's just
doggy.
I know. Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine when you're doing that. But when you're regular, when you're going on a mission,
I don't need all the kissing.
And you want to go in with the kiss. Sometimes a kiss is really important when you're in the middle because it'll take your mind off of what's going on and helps the guy a little bit, not to be so quick.
For you, yeah.
And so the kissing's off the table, and there's been times where I've been trying to go in for it, and I get the.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to get the kissing back in the game.
You got COVID mouth.
I was thinking about getting some of the what's that stuff you put on food?
What?
The stuff you put on
seasoning?
food. No, not the seasoning. The clear stuff you put on top of the bowl.
Cellophane?
Is that cellophane? No, so like clear the plastic wrap.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I just want to can I put that on my mouth and
kiss her?
Yeah.
You would enjoy that.
I love kissing. Like making out is one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah, it's all right.
See, you've always talked about like how come girls and Kinsey's the same way. Why don't girls like to make out anymore?
I don't know. I mean, I don't like, I know people, that's what Fran says. He's just like, I just love like a good long makeout.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
It doesn't even have to lead to anything. It could just be a makeout
I like
session.
kissing, you know, I like kissing some, but like, you're just going to sit there and like move your mouth and tongue around for 20 minutes. Why?
I mean, you could grab, like, there could be a, you know, a boob grab here and there, but like a good makeout session's.
It's not for me. I barely kissed Fran for a week. And he's healthy. No, I'm kidding. He's been sick.
What did he get sick with?
We don't know yet. No, I don't think that he has COVID. He gave himself a super strength allergy shot, but of course, you know, this fell around Thanksgiving. His birthday was on Thanksgiving. I think I totally dropped the ball on his birthday. I mean, it kind of gave me a pass because he was sick. So some of the stuff I had planned, we weren't able to do. So I'll have to do a rain check. I was going to take him to the symphony, which I know sounds like it was for me, but he is a very cultured man and he loves that sort of thing. So that was actually a gift for him. Don't squint your eyes at me. He loves it.
The symphony?
He loves it.
I went to like Boys to Men symphony.
No.
That was cool.
He loves it. And then I had that whole like, well, he doesn't know, but like that whole Love is Art kit, the canvas that I was going to lay out with all these candles. But like, there ain't no way. He didn't get out of bed from Thursday on his birthday on Thanksgiving until Sunday.
Oh, that made it easy for you.
Yeah.
Like
no, it didn't.
Because less stress.
I realized that never in my life have I had that opportunity and pleasure of nursing someone. Like I have never had to, and it made me realize that I suck at it and I'm pretty selfish and I tried to do my best, but I'm not very good in the kitchen. So I was making him sandwiches and luckily from his experience going to boarding school when he was a teenager, he's super self-sufficient. But Fran has said to me he's never had the flu in his life. And so to see him kind of down and out, he's really tough. I mean, he's crazy tough in terms of everything, you know, like never goes to the doctor, never seen him complain about anything, or he will momentarily, but then he'll deal with it. And so I knew when he didn't want to get out of bed for days that he really wasn't feeling good. So, you know, I went to CVS and I'm like getting a thermometer, like a baby thermometer. I almost got one that you had to stick up the butt, but I found the ones
That's the most accurate reading, by the way, the butt.
The anal, yeah. The rectal thermometer.
I still get down with that.
I didn't want to do that because I thought there'd be confusion later that like I'd probably end up using it. So I didn't want to get the rectal thermometer. So I got the digital one that they use on babies because they say it was like $60. And they said it's really accurate. And you just like do it here.
Yeah.
The digital like between the eyes.
That's yeah. I got the ear one.
So he had a fever and a headache, like a migraine, but he didn't have any of the other COVID symptoms. And so we're still waiting to get his COVID test results back. I have felt fine. I slept on the couch though.
Yeah. So I've been kind of quarantined.
I've been sleeping on the couch. Yeah. I've been sleeping on the couch and he's finally feeling better. He went to his office yesterday. So we're waiting on his COVID test, but no, he gave himself the super strength allergy shot. And I think that's the world we live in now, that anytime someone starts feeling under the weather, we took a lot of precautions. You know, we actually had stopped by my family's house since it was his birthday. They had made him a cake, but he wore a mask and we just were like outside and said hello and took him home. But yeah, it's been a bummer. And I just feel like not a good nurse, you know? I mean, he has all his stuff, like all that stuff that you were listing off, he takes on the regular. And so he was laying there just medicating himself, which was great. Like I didn't have to baby him and make sure he was taking his medicine or anything. But no, he did not get out of bed. He did not even turn on the television in bed. And was not even on his phone. So you know he was feeling bad, but I think he had a migraine because he kept saying like the light was really sensitive and he couldn't open his eyes. And I looked up the side effects of the shot and they were pretty bad, but I just don't think I'm a very good nurse.
Here's the thing about migraines too, because you'll get a lot of people, they'll be like, I grew up suffering from migraines.
Have you gotten a low-grade fever from a migraine? Do you think that's possible?
Not that I recall, and if I did,
those were his only symptoms. Like a horrible headache, couldn't get out of bed, but like no chills, no body pain, no sneezing, no loss of taste or smell, none of those COVID symptoms.
Because if you see somebody that'll go on Instagram, well, they'll post and they'll be like, "Oh, I have such a bad migraine right now," and there's a picture of them like laying. You don't have a migraine. When people have migraines,
they can't function.
You cannot function. Yeah. I personally, I lock myself in the closet with a pillow. Because there's not an ounce of light. A little bit of light hurts. A little bit of sound hurts. It's just this awful pain that just makes you want to cry.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what he had.
Because it makes it worse. So he probably did have a migraine, Jenna.
I hope he doesn't have COVID because, like, I mean, here I am. And I feel okay. I keep taking my temperature and I feel fine. So, and I haven't kissed him. We had sex without kissing.
It's so weird. Like, I can't do it.
That's pretty normal for me.
And then the people said that's prosty. That's prosty sex. You know?
I guess. I'm not nearly wild enough to be deemed prosty sex. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not like wild, like I'm not doing freaky shit to be considered prosty sex.
You've never gotten like a book? And you're like, okay, Tuesday, we're going to practice this one.
No.
Neither.
Practice this one?
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes you got to practice because some of those moves are wild.
Isn't it that just doing? Is it practicing? Wait, you practice alone? Stop.
No, I don't like you. Like if I have to like put my leg in a certain spot, like I want to make sure that
you stretch.
I stretch it because you don't want to get to game time, right? And you're like, okay, today we're gonna try this.
You're ridiculous.
I don't want to get to game time, and then when the game's going on, I'm like, oh damn, I'm not flexible enough for that. So you want to make sure that you're able and able to do that position. So sometimes I'll just make sure, but it's not like I don't practice. If that makes sense. I just make sure that my body can twist or bend or do that.
Have you gotten your Christmas shopping done?
No.
Kinsey does it. What do you want for Christmas? Can I ask you that? Because I think as a man your age, it'd be really nice to know. And I know you're a little bit of a Peter Pan boy child in there, but it would be really nice to know like what's on your Christmas list because it will help most all of the other women out there.
So since I grew up with little, it's hard for me to
like since you grew up a poor Mexican child.
Since I grew up with not much, it's like I have.
Is that what you meant by
when
little?
I have enough, yeah. Since I
it's hard for you to dream big.
Yeah. So.
Okay, but just tell us cheap to expensive, a dream item, even if you couldn't afford it or get it. Like, what are some things that you would love?
So here's what I've been hinting at this for years now.
Okay.
Like for instance, I drop like super valid hints to my wife.
Yeah.
For instance, I'll give an example. A couple years ago, you remember this, Jenna? I kept talking about this this board that I now have and I love. It's my favorite possession that I have. It's my one wheel. In fact, I bought another one during quarantine.
That's the skateboard with the wheel.
Yeah, it's a self-balancing skateboard, and I could take it on dirt tracks, and I got my group of friends that we all go together, and it's my favorite thing that I do. But I was dropping this hint with Kinsey. Like I would walk by her phone and be like, one wheel, one wheel, one wheel, one wheel,
yeah.
one wheel.
Like it's like when you hear about girls being like engagement ring, engagement ring, engagement ring,
I was
in the
legit doing
boyfriend's
that.
phone.
I remember I went on her computer and I was searching one wheel so that it would pop up as the advertising.
She never picked up on the hint.
Never. She never.
Because you ended up getting it from our boss at work.
George bought it from our boss, and so and I was dropping these hints so hard. And you know what I got for I think for it was my birthday. You know what I got a mountain bike.
That's cool.
Which is cool.
But you never asked for that.
But I didn't ask for the mountain bike, and I wasn't really dropping hints about mountain bikes. And I don't. Mountain biking is scary to me. It's you go too fast, and those guys that do the mountain biking, they're crazy athletic on those things. I'm not really good on a bike. I'm more of a skateboarder. I like to bail and run.
What about clothes?
Clothes.
Do you like if it's clothes that you like? Do you like getting cool clothes that you never buy for yourself?
Yeah. I like clothes. Like Kinsey's actually really good when it comes to clothes.
Yeah, I've been getting Bran a lot of clothes because I think it makes it, it's cute to dress them, and I've never gotten to do that before.
And she always hits. So I would say like a good pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Right now, because like a lighter.
Sneakers.
I love sneakers. She always gets me Vans.
Yeah. So
all my clothes that I have, Kinsey bought it. But I've been dropping this hint back to this, circling back around, that I've wanted a new guitar because I have a guitar that I bought. Man, my guitar's probably
toys, right? It's kind of the theme there, like hobbies, things that you're interested in, like that.
Right, and I like things that I'm gonna use all the time. So I play my guitar every day. But my guitar, I've had it for 8 years, and it's been through the ringer. My kids have dropped it. It's got a crack on it in the bottom, so it doesn't sound right anymore. The neck, the fret is a little messed up.
Yeah.
And so I've been dropping like, man, I really need a new guitar, or oh man, I
bet she's gonna do it.
I don't know, because it's been like 3 years that I've been dropping this hint. I've been dropping this hint. Like, man, I could really use a new guitar. Yeah, I really like Martin. Martin's a really good guitar, but I guess I could do with a Taylor, or we'll be online and I'll be on my Ultimate Guitar website where I learn my songs, and I'll be like, oh, look at that guy's guitar. It's super nice. I love black guitars. I just drop those hints and it just doesn't get picked up. So that's for me.
Okay.
That's my main one. What's your gift that you're looking forward to? Because I use you to ask Kinsey.
So I bought my, I'm doing more presents this year than I normally do just because I felt in the giving spirit and I wanted to have a good Christmas at home. So I've done most of all my Christmas shopping for my mom and for Fran for Christmas morning. And I included myself in that. I mean, I got myself a few things for like cyber, when we were doing cyber shopping, I found some things online that I wanted. But, I I'm a typical girl. Like, I like beauty products, makeup. I like, I've always told you to, go to Sephora. I mean, obviously I would love support of our skincare at Fitish, but, go to Sephora. They have amazing gift sets, and those are like really great stocking stuffers for girls of every age. I'll do it for my mom quite a bit. Like, I'll get her these perfume sets from Sephora that give you like 15 different perfume samples. And then with the purchase of that, you get to take a card in and get a full size when they like it. I think that's been like a really great gift that I've gotten for people in the past. And it's quite affordable. Like, I think it's $40, $50, something like that. So things like that. But for myself, I mean, I truthfully, and I swear to you, I have not hinted or asked for anything specific from Fran.
That makes it so hard on us.
I know. And I show him a lot of stuff that I like, but I've kind of turned into a guy in that way that, I'm pretty financially independent. I buy myself what I like, what I want. I show him to see if he likes it. I'm still typical. I like shoes. I like purses, that sort of thing. I mean, I've moved away a little bit from that, wanting designer stuff as much all the time. For me now, it's come down more to like cool pieces of furniture, or art and stuff for the house, because I feel like that's kind of building more of a memory and something that I can take with me, not something trendy that I'm gonna forget about. So him and I have really similar taste in furniture, which I know makes me sound a lot older, that I want like a cool designer furniture chair or something like that.
That's cool though.
But
it makes you happy.
But I have not put him on the spot about anything in particular. I was going to get him a rowing machine. He loves to row, but these things are like very expensive. And I just finally broke the news to him, like, that's not happening. I'm going to break up that budget. And really, him and I are saving for a house. Like, we're thinking in a year that we're going to get a house. And so we're just saving on it so we can get a house that we want and not be house poor. So that's kind of something him and I have talked about doing.
You want to move by me? We should be neighbors.
No. We could get a good house out by you. Yeah. I don't want to move that far away. I'd have to fly there.
Suburbia's fine. It's like 24 minutes.
If I had kids your age, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we're not there yet. We're talking about starting a family and all of that now. We're having those discussions. And so I just don't see any reason, other than just wanting a house. It's a lot of work. And, I want to get a house that I can sell again in a couple years when I move to Europe. So... because that's our plan. You know that, right?
Jenna wants to move to Europe.
Yeah.
This is going to be weird to do the podcast with you in Europe time.
I like we'll be so far past doing a podcast by then. Hey, I have an idea though. I have an idea. We've talked about Skillshare before, but I love, Francisco and I agree, like we love sharing experiences as gifts, so whether for us, it may have used to have been concert tickets and fun things like that we haven't been able to do anymore since this has been a different kind of year and may continue to be for quite a while, but we are like an experience-based kind of couple. So we like to say, let's treat each other to a vacation. Let's treat each other to an experience. And Skillshare offers so many great classes.
Yeah.
Him and I are a little nerdy in that way. Like we read the same books at the same time and stuff like that. And, I've been wanting to get more proficient in Spanish and he's been wanting to kind of up his drone skills and photography skills. So I'm treating him to this like full drone series on Skillshare because
You're gifting him the gift of skill.
The gift of skill. It's really cool because Skillshare is this platform that offers like tens of thousands of classes in different specialties. And so you can treat someone you love, if they have a hobby like guitar or just a passion in general that they want to improve upon, get them, some classes from Skillshare or a membership actually, because an annual subscription is actually less than $10 a month. So way more affordable than in-person classes. You're going to have that social distancing in your favor because this is all done virtually from the comfort of your own home. And you can get really creative with these because there are so many cool classes that they have on there to offer, like some of the ones I just listed off. So explore your creativity or the creativity of a loved one and give the gift of Skillshare this holiday season. Go to Skillshare.com/Fitish2, that's Fitish and the number 2, to get a free trial of premium membership. All right, that's Skillshare.com/Fitish2. You're going to get a free trial. So you could basically give a free trial gift, and if they really love it, then you can continue that for less than $10 a month. Really great.
That's what got me on painting. I've been painting a lot lately and doing art. But speaking of skills, you know what I'm going to be trying this week?
What?
I'm going to be installing my first ever ceiling fan.
Will you please put a time lapse on that? Will you to get your iPad out and video it?
I mean, I could try. I could try to do that.
You don't have to try. It's very easy. You just like put your phone out and put time lapse on, and then do the full. Because like
I don't want to set myself up for failure, though.
But then you'll go viral on TikTok, which is your dream anyway.
So
that would be the perfect. Oh no! As the ceiling fan's falling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of. And there's electricity involved in this, and people have told me, hey, don't mess with anything electrical and all that stuff. But here's the thing: I've already messed with electrical stuff. I've put in a light fixture. Mm-hmm. Did that? Thanks to
really
YouTube,
good. Yeah.
So I've wanted to improve my manliness because I didn't really grow up with a dad at home because my dad was working so much when I was little, and so I didn't get taught how to fix things around the house. I didn't get taught how to camp or how to fish or do all those manly or hunt. I've never done that. And so I've wanted to start learning how to do those things because now if I don't teach my son, he's going to grow up and be like me. So I want to show them that, yo, we can do this.
Yeah.
So far, I've put in a garbage disposal. That right there was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I put in the light fixture, like that in my little breakfast nook. And now I'm going to do the ceiling fan above my bed. Because I've moved on to the stage of my life where if I build something that could potentially kill me, I want to take care of it.
Does Kaysen, is he proud of you? Does he know what you're doing? Does he care?
No, I try to give him the help, and then about 5 minutes later, I look down and he's gone.
He's just a little too young, right, to learn how to be daddy's helper and build.
I think he should be he's 8 now. He's almost 9. He should be.
He just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a damn. He gets bored too easily, or if it's not any interest of his, he's just out of it. So I want to show them that look, I don't have these skills, but I can acquire them and I can learn how to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna be putting a ceiling fan above my bed.
That's so great. I hire people to do things like that, and I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it.
I hire people to do things that are strenuous, like cut my lawn. That's strenuous. I liked it at first because it was cool because I owned my house.
That was in your blood.
I thought so too, Jenna, but turns out it's not. The allergies were killing me.
Did you get a lawnmower too?
I got a lawnmower. Oh yeah, I got a gas. That was
money well spent.
First of all, doing your yard is such a bitch. Because I had to go to the damn gas station to get gas to put into my little lawnmower, and then I spilled it on myself, which got on my shoes. Those shoes are still outside, by the way. Never brought them into the house because they had gas on them.
This is the other upside for me not owning a home right now. I don't have to do any of that or hire someone to do that.
Yeah, and then on top of that, Jenna, in the summertime, it was 100 degrees out there, but I have such bad allergies that I would cover myself like a ninja. So it was like a sauna, and I'd be done, and I'd be wet. Just I'd be whap.
That's disgusting.
What? No, it's more wow. Wet ass lawn guy.
Wow. On that note.
So I hated it.
Well, I'm glad you're healthy. Thank you for sharing your COVID story. Hopefully I'm COVID safe too. I'm going to try and stay COVID free throughout the holiday season, which means doing nothing but coming here and going home.
Smart move. And I hope everybody else stays healthy. And if you do have any questions, reach out. I'll gladly answer it, even though...
Yeah, shoot Tracy a message on social media or just email the podcast at fitish.com and I'll have him respond to you about your COVID inquiries.
For sure. But I'm okay. My family's okay. It'll all be okay.
See you next week.
Bye.